Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on volume 15 of Yona of the Dawn. This arc with the Water Tribe is off to a really good start. This whole Nadai thing, it's great. So I haven't shown the cover yet, but I really love the cover. It's great. I'm really looking forward to this arc because we left off the last arc where Yona had been slashed. Hak and Kija and Jae-Ha had just apprehended the people that were distributing Nadai. Y'all say in the comments on Patreon, because as I'm recording this, volume 13 has been on YouTube, volume 14 is on Patreon. The people on Patreon said that it was pronounced Lily instead of Riri, but it's so. In typical me fashion, I will probably be alternating between Riri and Lily. Lily is a lot easier to say for me. Lily is a lot easier, so maybe I'll stick with Lily, and then if y'all complain, I'll take back. I'll change it back. But Lily fits more, as one of you commented, I don't know if it was Kotaro or Kikse, one of you retorted that Lily sounds more like the flower that would be in the Water Tribe. It makes more sense. So Lily sounds better. I'll probably stick with Lily, even though I said Riri in the last one. And I may just rotate back and forth. Who knows? but she's an interesting character. Jae-Ha's super interesting the last volume. And then how Hak and Jae-Ha and them are going to react if they know that Yona's been slashed by Kyo, this prick. I don't know. And then we have Lily's dad, who is very similar to King Il. He's not doing anything about the situation. He's just letting it go by. And it's like, So I don't know what's going to happen, but it's creating a lot of suspense, right? I know this series has like 35 so volumes, so clearly Yona's going to live, but it's like, what's going to happen, right? I'm so fascinated, and we know that Tetra, she was injured, so there's lots of things going on, but this arc is off to a really good start. So we're going to read volume 15 today. I've been told that the stage play I have access to, and the stage play for Yona of the Dawn covers volumes 14 through 16, which I'm assuming is this arc. And so I don't want to watch it yet. I'm going to wait because someone pointed out that there's a spoiler for volume 18, which is where the other set of OVAs come in that stage play. And I'm like, I don't want to be spoiled. I've made it this far. I've not been spoiled. I'm going to wait. So I'm going to wait till after volume 18 where we have the OVAs. And then it'll be nice to revisit the water arc afterwards and rewatch the stage play there. So I'll have it up a week early on Patreon, and then it'll be up the following week on YouTube. But yeah. We shall see, right? So I'm so excited. I've been waiting all day, and I'm like, no, I'm diving in. I'm not going to wait anymore. So we're going to dive right into volume 15 of Yona of the Dawn and just see what happens. I'm so excited, but we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. Oh, and here we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, I'm so glad none of you spoiled me. I'm so glad none of you spoiled me. Oh my God, this is amazing. I love it. Okay. There's so much I love about this. As a writer, because here's the deal, and we've talked about this in the comments leading up to this volume. As a writer, if you want characters to interact, you've got to play a chess game to see how certain characters can interact with certain characters and all flow in certain ways. And the one thing I love about Kusanagi and her writing is that she finds a way to have, it's an ensemble cast. I mean, there's like 7 or 8 of these characters traveling all at once. And it is very easy for the characters to kind of not get to showcase their strengths as much. I think of all the characters, Sheena is put more to the side, but he's a quiet character. So he gets to shine in this volume, absolutely. But he's a quiet character by nature. So him not talking all the time makes sense. And that's a smart move on the mangaka's part to be like, okay, this character's quiet. They're not going to talk a lot. And this arc seems to also be coinciding with Jae-Ha as a character. So we've gotten a lot of focus with Jae-Ha. So there's moments in here where Jae-Ha gets his moments alone with Yona, as he needs to. But the moment they introduce SOO-WON into this, which, it's like Awa all over again. It's Awa 2.0, except it's extended, right? The moment that SOO-WON shows up as Lily's bodyguard to interact with Yona and them, I was like, how are we keeping Hak out of this? Because Hak, as we established in the comments, is not emotionally at a place to show that vulnerability alongside Yona. He is not ready to fully come out to Yona about his feelings. And he has some deep feelings for SOO-WON. and those have not been resolved. And here we are giving Yona a chance to do some reconciliation with SOO-WON, or at least to talk to him, to talk this out, because they don't have a choice. SOO-WON, it's so funny because Judo and SOO-WON, they all know who each other are except Lily, but they're acting under this guise to keep things going smoothly until the whole water tribe thing is wrapped up. Zeno knows who he is, though. Zeno knows who SOO-WON is. Zeno is mysterious in this. Zeno, we'll talk about Zeno. He is mysterious in this. I'm here for it. But as a writer, it's like, okay, Hawk is not ready to deal with SOO-WON. If Hawk saw SOO-WON right now, he would try to kill him because he'd be so mad. And we can't have that right now because we have a bigger problem to deal with. We got to deal with Hyo and the South Kai merchants that are coming. So how do we keep Hawk away from SOO-WON? And the way that Kusanagi does it in this volume is genius. And then at the very end there, Hawk wants to go back, but Kija's like, no, Zeno made a promise. And the dragons are like, we know that Zeno was serious. So if Zeno says he's going to protect Yona, he's going to protect Yona. And it's like, okay, they trust Zeno. It's funny because it's funny at the end of this how much trust they have in Zeno, despite him seeing, like, despite them, like, questioning his skills, they trust Zeno completely. But oh my God, this volume. Oh my God. So much good stuff happening in this. I friggin' love Yona standing up and doing now he has the X on his face, standing up and carving out. Like, that move by Yona was so badass. I love it. So I'm going through this volume again. I'm going to read the mangaka's notes as we go. But and Sheena showing up. Sheena getting his time to shine, being like, yes. So we got the first comment with the mangaka here. It's Yona of the Dawn, volume 15. And this is Kusanagi. Hello. Thank you to everyone who's stuck with us this long. Because of your support, Yona is going to become an anime. Is going to become an anime. The director and staff are very respectful of the source material and are creating a very faithful adaptation. Yes, I'm really looking forward to the final product. The art is incredibly cute. I need to keep up the pace with the manga. Oh, and the cast from the CD drama is going to be performing in the anime. So I hope you'll watch Yona and her friends in motion. Pew Q will be there too. Wow, so it took until volume 15 for them to do the anime. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, Sheena being so mad. We get a lot with the dragons and their emotions tying with Yona in this volume, but Yona being injured, the dragons, they give their life and love to her. So yeah, he's pissed that she's hurt. He sees the mark on her back. Oh, it's so good. I love the shot of the dragon eye looking down and seeing her like with the slash and him like growling. Oh, I love it. I love it. And yeah, I like that they did cut back and establish with Jae-Ha, Gigan, because Gigan was the one that was all like, let's not kill anybody, right? Let's not kill anyone. And Jae-Ha's like, Gigan, I want to do what you're asking, but her life takes precedence. So, because it gets violent in this arc. Like, they're like, nope, we're ready to kill people. These drug addicts, they're not going to stop, so we got to stop them. Oh, but I love that the moment Hyo was going to attack Sheena, and Sheena looked back. She was like, I want to question him. And Yona just slicing the face. Hell yeah. I'm going to take a photo of that. I'm like, yes, please, Yona. Yona, our queen. That's so good. That don't you move a muscle. Ah! And so, yeah, this guy is apparently really obsessed with people cutting his face. So I'm curious who gave him the first cut, who cut him across the face the first time. If we're going to find that out or not, that's going to be interesting. But Zeno, so here's the thing. Zeno comes in to protect Yona throughout most of this arc here. Zeno is probably the least violent of all of them. He's not about to attack, like he just hits a guy over the head with a board. That's the most he does. Zeno's not the violent one of the group, but he's all about protecting. He's the shield, right? Mm-hmm. And him saying he'll never forget her face. And Sheena was going to chase after him, but that's when Zeno's like, no. Him and Yoon are like, Zeno's like, we'll deal with him later. These young ladies are badly... He says young ladies and young men a lot, Zeno does. I'm like, yeah, you're a lot older than you look, Zeno. Okay. They're badly hurt. And then I like they put Yona on her back to keep her wounds up, but also, so that Kija and Jae-Ha didn't see. But I love the visual of Hawk and Jae-Ha and Kija on either side of him. I feel like Kija and Jae-Ha together, their attributes help make Hawk... I feel like because we see Hawk with Kija and Jae-Ha the most, and you have Jae-Ha in all black and Kija in all white, and Hak is in like the grays and blues. It's a cool, the trio of them, but them just being like, we were gone and this happened. And they're like, she's injured. And Yoon, of course, feels terrible because Yoon's like, we couldn't protect her. We tried. And like Sheena's being sad. And then Zeno's like, we got to go help her. And yeah, all the dragons being like, we didn't bring her with us to keep her safe. And then this happened. And God, Hak with that face with his brow furrowed and his fists clenched. Like Hak just being so, feeling responsible. This scene with the 4 dragons all crouched together crying. Oh my God. It's so, and they're all so little, the little dragons. And so you see them, so you see the little Hak, you see the little Kija dragon, and he's hitting himself because he feels like he's slapping himself with his tail. And he's beating himself up because Yona got hurt. And she's like, oh, no, don't. And then Jae-Ha looks troubled. And she's like, oh, don't feel troubled. And then Sheena's crying and like holding his tears with his little dragon hands. Oh my God, I can't. And you see his eyes look like the dragon eyes. Their eyes look like them. You see Jae-Ha's eyes are in the dragon. Kija's you can't really see because he's hitting himself with his tail. But you see Sheena's eyes. And then Zeno's black eyes. He's sitting there. He's trying to heal his back and rub her back. Oh. And she's like all gathered around him like they're her children. She's like, you guys are all distressed because I got injured. It's okay. I got hurt because I wasn't strong enough. So we see Hak as a dragon in this, right? We see Hak as a dragon, right? But not one of these 4. And I love that because she looks over to Hak like he's going to be there. Like he's going to be one of the dragons. She's like, has all 4 of them together. And she's like, it'll be all right, you 4. Like, I don't romantically ship Yona with any of the dragons because they all feel like, not her children, but they all feel like her best friends. Like they're all like, oh, hey guys, it's fine. But then when she says, I got chills. When she says, hey Hak, and she looks over and sees him physically there. When she woke up, like waking up from a dream. The chills. And I love the way that Kusanagi drew him with like his foot underneath him, like him just sitting beside her. We see him from her perspective, like she looks up to see him. And then him seeing her. And then he tries to help her up. And I love that he like has her clutched. And of course she's like, oh, I'm not decent. Like I got these bandages wrapped around me, but should he see me like this? But I don't think she remembers like way back in episode 3 of the anime, like way back in the volumes when she was like naked with the leeches on her. I don't think she remembers that. She was so distressed. But Hawk's seen her naked before. Like he knows what she looks like. It's not anything. And he is husbando material. He is so respectful of her that it's like, it's fine. And he gets her to try to relax. And he's like, let me take care of things. And I'm like, girl, I understand. She's like, he's speaking right by my ear. Like, if Hak was saying those things while clutching me in that deep, sensual voice, I think I'd be like that too. And I love that she's like, you taught me all these things. And so it's because of that. She's like, don't look that way. Don't look so tortured. I wouldn't let anyone look so sorrowful. And yeah, it shows Hak as like the dragon. And it shows him with like his hair pushed back. And he's like crying. It's like, if I were strong enough to fight on my own, would Hak smile the way he used to? She's like, I don't want you to feel bad that you taught me these things because they helped save me. And I love that she's like, don't feel responsible. These are my injuries. Like, this is the path I've chosen. Don't be sad. And I love that he's like, easier said than done. You're too important to me. Come on, Hak. Quit being the best husbando ever. But yeah, Hak is emotionally troubled. And I need Hak to come out and talk to her and just be like, and just say what he says. And now that she's with SOO-WON, I really don't want Hak and SOO-WON to meet. Yet I want Hak and SOO-WON to stay separate. And I want Yona to talk with SOO-WON. And then whatever Yona finds out from that conversation, I want her to take it back to Hak that way. And I want her to go back to Hak and be like, look, I talked with SOO-WON. And he'll be like, what? And then she'll be like, look, no. And I'm glad she gets mad at him. She doesn't trust him. I'm glad that even though Yona recognizes that SOO-WON has the same goals as her, and he is thinking of the kingdom, I like that she does not trust him enough to leave him alone with Lily. She's like, no, like, you betrayed me. You were awful. You killed my father. Like, I like that Yona's not totally over that, but she is recognizing that they are fighting for the same cause, but she still doesn't trust him. And I'm glad that she didn't just, like, turn over a new leaf, that there is some of that hesitation still there, right? Even though I don't think SOO-WON will hurt her at this point. I mean, Judo is not either, so I think they're going to let her go. But now Judo and them know she's alive, and they know that they're there. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, poor Lily. I kept wanting to call her Riri, because in the volume she's pronounced Riri, and then Lily, but Lily just wanting to take action and having the nightmare about Yona and Tetra. I love the panels where she wakes up and she has like the look of resolve and she's crying. I love it. I'm like, I love that panel. I love that Lily as a character wants to say, it's funny because when she first met SOO-WON, I was like, oh, well, if Hak ends up with Yona, maybe SOO-WON can end up with Lily. Maybe that could be a thing. Wouldn't that be funny? But then I'm like, does SOO-WON even like girls? Is that even a thing? Is SOO-WON just Hak sexual and that's it, like everybody else in this series? It would be funny if the mangaka ended up having SOO-WON with Lily and Hak with Yona, because Yona and Lily are similar. That would be funny, but I'm like, SOO-WON just seems not interested in any girl, to be honest. But yeah, and I love that Yuna's applying the ointment to her back, to her scar, so she's gonna have a scar on her back from that sword. And I love that Kija's so pure. He's like, everyone leave. Don't look at Yona. She's too pure. And Hak's like, your body's not that exciting, princess. And she's like, turn away. Oh, yeah. Hak can't help it. He can't help it. Even when he's sad, he can't help it be that way around her. But it's cute when they part ways, Lily and her parting ways. It is really cute. Okay. Sensei, check my background. Sure. The background's good, but it looks like Jae-Ha's head is rolling on the ground. Oh, dear. I make a copy and put it in a different spot. Sensei, is this a better place for Jae-Ha? Jae-Ha's head has a twin! Ha 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 ha. So I love that Yona establishes that she's not going to stop until Hio's stopped. And then Lily's like, I've got to be able to do something. If I can't protect my tribe, then what's the point of being in the general's family? If I'm not the chief's daughter and I can't protect my tribe, then what's the point, right? And I love Ayura and Tetra. For the record, Ayura and Tetra, totally together. Totally together. I mean, at this point, I'm like, Ayura and Tetra, for sure a ship. But I love that they're so dedicated to helping Lily be able to protect her kingdom. And then they're like, no, you're the general's daughter. You can do something. It's okay. And them taking her back. And I love that they're just called monsters in this, but the dragons, half the time they're the least monstrous things, right? And so then Lily gives them all of the honey manju. It's really cute. And Zeno's super happy about that, which I'm wondering if Zeno is originally from the Water Tribe. I don't know, from the Water Tribe areas, right? I'm curious if that might be the case, because he gets really excited about the manju. So, interesting. And then I like the whole thing about the crooked bow, and that Yona, she's like, oh, your bow's crooked. Let me help you fix it. And we established that, Lily's never done anything like that for herself. And so her and Yona kind of connect through that, and it's really, really cute. And then Yona's like, I'll do my best. And Lily makes a promise to go back to her tribe and try to help. But man, Ayura, these addicts dying left and right, because Ayura just slashes through them. It's like, oh my God, she is not messing around. So yeah, going back to the palace, huh? So the dad, Junji, is very interesting. He's very soft-spoken, and he demands that no one speaks out. Again, he reminds me a lot of King Il, and we'll talk about that when SOO-WON has that conversation with her about standing up for protecting her people. We'll have that talk, because SOO-WON, again, it's very interesting. But he's all about, like, being calm and quiet, and he tries to tell her that things are more complicated than she thinks. And she's like, well, then why don't we do something? And he's like, it's too complicated. You don't know the politics. It'd be too much trouble. Just don't talk about things you don't know. So it's almost like he wants to take action, but he just doesn't want a war. He's like King Il. He wants to be pacifist about it, and he doesn't want a war. But it's going to be on their doorstep by the end of this volume, so what do you do? And I like that Lily's like, you've got to stand up and do something. But, all right, the manager notes. PQ in chapter 84. What's PQ doing here? Sometimes even I have no idea what she's doing here. So he just shows up. I love that PQ, or aka Al, the squirrel, just shows up at random spots throughout this entire series. Just the mangaka likes putting her in weird places. So yeah, and so he just sends her away, but he's like, no, you just don't understand how complex the situation is. And she's like, maybe not, but she understands that they can't just not do anything. And she's like, if you decide to do this, I'll do whatever you need me to. I'll fight alongside you. And that gets him to open his eyes. She's like, I'll fight with you. If you just help me, I'll be with you. And that gets him to open his eyes as she's being taken away, but he still doesn't do anything. And then, of course, she has a secret door. I love when she gets that look of determinism in her face. She's like, let's do this. Let's do this. And you see, like, she's thinking of the body, the addicts, Yona, Hyo, Tetra. She's like, nah, I'm going to take charge. I'll go on my own. So there's a really cool dynamic and parallel between Yona and King Il, between Junji and Lily, and between SOO-WON and his dad, now I can't think of his name, but his father. Like, there's parallels and intersections between these characters. But it's like his daughter leaving doesn't discern him. It doesn't cause him any problems. But the moment they say that the water seal is gone, he has the most exaggerated, like, faints and has the exaggerated face. Like, what is this face, mangaka? And the seal has a dragon over the top of it. A dragon that kind of looks like Zeno. I'm just saying. I feel like it looks like Zeno. Don't spoil me, but I'm like, oh, if Zeno's connected to the water tribes, it's going to be interesting. So the seal lets her get any troops available, but she can't find any troops and can't get them available. So that's why she goes to find the ships to get them. And that's why when she stumbles upon SOO-WON. So meanwhile, Yona's got a fever and she's looking pale. And they're like, we need to get her out of here and go find an inn. And Jae-Ha offers, he's the only one that can leap in a single bound, and offers to take her with him. And I like that we get that panel of Hak and Sheena just kind of watching him go, like, we don't have a choice. And Sheena can at least look from long distances. But I love this. I love as they see the ocean, we tie back. Because a lot of this arc is very much like Awa. And we're getting a lot of Jae-Ha focus, which is like Awa. They mentioned the honey manju. So we had the honey scene with Hak and Yona in the Awa arc. Are we going to go back to that at the end of this arc? Maybe. I hope so. We'll see. But yeah. But there's all this reminiscing. And I love that he's like, same here. And she's like, back then I thought, and he said, back then I thought you were just a fragile little thing. And she's like, what do you think of me now? And he looks at her like, I'd rather not say. And she's like, I want to know. He's like, he doesn't want to admit that he likes her. He doesn't want to admit it, that he loves her. And then that's when the assassins come in, right? Oh, and I love that he's like, Kija, if her life's on the line, I can't just not kill these guys. I can't hold back. And so then it starts to rain and they seek shelter in the barn, right? And I love this because he tries to make a joke out of it. He tries to be like his little like pervy Jae-Ha self where he's like, I'll warm you up, take your clothes off. And she's like, no, don't. And she's shivering. And that's when he's like, I guess it's not time for jokes. Very much like Hak. There's such a Hak vibe with Jae-Ha. And he puts the blanket around her and cozies up. And she's like, you're always so warm, Jae-Ha. I hope the others catch up with us soon. And I love this where he's like, I don't want to tell you how I think about you. And that's why I hope they get here soon too. I don't romantically ship Hak. I don't romantically ship Jae-Ha with Yona. If any of the four dragons I were to ship with her, it would be Jae-Ha. But I don't really. I feel like he's more like the big brother. But he's like, and by love, I don't mean romantic. But I feel like he cares about Yona and he loves her like a sibling, like a best friend. But he doesn't want to admit those feelings it's not the blood talking, it's him. And he's coming to terms with it. But he doesn't want to admit it. Oh God, it's so good. Because he's caring about somebody other than himself. And a lot of you in the comments have said that Jae-Ha is pretty self-loathing. And I can see that. I don't want any spoilers, though, so don't give me any Jae-Ha. I'm sure we'll get more Jae-Ha backstory as we go. I don't want any more yet. But I can definitely see how Jae-Ha he puts on the facade of being this flamboyant, eccentric guy, but he is a little bit more somber in reality. And then he says, took you long enough. I love it. I love that Hak and Kija are like, you didn't try anything, right? But that leads into the chapter titled Shaped by Those We Meet. And it ties to the fact that these dragons they've all been shaped by Yona so far, 15 volumes in various ways, right? And so it's great. But yeah, they go outside and Jae-Ha. And at this point, the addicts, they're so drug addicted, they're just grabbing any woman now. They're not even looking for a redhead. They're just looking for anybody that looks like it could be Yona, which is sad and frustrating. Okay, there's another author note. For volume 15, I put together a special edition that includes a CD. The CD contains chapter 41, Dragon, Human, or Both, from volume 7, and chapter 76, Drifter's Market, from volume 13. You'll be surprised to hear that Yona's entire group is included. Hiro Shimono, who plays Zeno, makes his first appearance. It's a comedy, so even Sheena talks a lot, so it's a lively and fun. Some lines are original to the CD. Kija does a lot of ad-libbing, hee. Also, sometimes something amazing happens during the conversation with the cast, so I hope you get a hold of the CD and listen to it over and over. You can hear Pew say her name. I even wrote about what happened during the recording. Oh, I kind of want that CD now. So they established that they're all hunting somebody named Yona. Yona figures out that it's Hyo. So they're like, well, Hyo's searching for me. I'm searching for him. So let's just cut to the chase. Let's just flush him out. I love Yona taking charge. I love Yona being like, no, let's just do the damn thing. Let's flush him out. Let's go. I love it. Let's let him know a red-haired girl is here. And so Lily manages to make it to SENSUI, and she gets attacked by these guys, and then lo and behold, who shows up but a man with blonde hair and an umbrella? SOO-WON just happens to be there investigating. Now, whether or not he got like a pickup from Taejun, like a hint from there, or he just figured this is the next logical place for them to go, I don't know, but it's just, I love, and SOO-WON ain't afraid to kill nobody. He's like stabbing a guy in the forehead with an umbrella, but he manages to live. Interesting. He didn't kill him, he just thunked him in the head with it. But Judo killed him. So there you go. And then Judo and them strolling on. And I love that Judo in his 30s giving SOO-WON all kinds of grief, being like, what are you doing? And then SOO-WON with the umbrella, are you all right? You there. Okay. And then, yeah, SOO-WON meeting her. I can see that maybe they're starting a ship between SOO-WON and Lily because they're around the same age. Even though SOO-WON acts way more mature than 18, he's 18 and Lily's like, what, 15 or 16? So they're around the same age. I could see this ship starting between these two. I can see it. I could also see it not being it because SOO-WON, I'm like, SOO-WON and Hak, right? But I like this. I like that he and Lily have a lot in common, just like, you know, him and Yona now. But it's interesting. She's like, you're my body. And again, oh my God, he's the bodyguard of Lily, just like Hak's the bodyguard of Yona. Mangaka, are you setting up SOO-WON with Lily? Are we doing this? Are we? It's very coincidental that these relationships are being set up. But yeah, SOO-WON knows who she is. But he's made himself the merchant Won. Okay, fun times. I'm only a humble merchant. These are my bodyguards. I like Judo's like, just go with it. Judo's like, just roll with it. Judo clearly respects SOO-WON, so he's like, just roll with it. Just do what he says. He's your majesty. We have to go with it. I love it. But she accepts them as her bodyguards. And then Judo's like, we were only going to investigate here. Why are we staying? And he's like, well, we're gathering information, so this is the best possible way. So it's a very SOO-WON-like strategy of gathering information by using Lily to get info. But we'll talk about Yona and all of this. I'm so excited. But yeah, so we cut back to Hyo. He's mad. And they said there were monsters. And I love the visual of the claw coming out and being the monsters. They say a red-haired girl is being protected by monsters. And then we have Hak and Kija. I love Kija doing the hand back-to-back, and Hak's got the glaive. And then Sheena and Jae-Ha just kicking and everything. I love Jae-Ha being like, quit making that face, Kija. And he's got his, like, war face on. And Kija doesn't care that people see his hands. When Kija battles, he is like, it's all for saving Yona. He does not care what ends up happening. But God, the near miss, like, Sheena and Hak nearly ran into them. It's a good thing that they missed each other. I thought during the end of this chapter end of chapter 86, I thought that SOO-WON missing, because at the very end you see Sheena like crashing down the blade. I thought that they were just going to miss them all together and never see each other again for most of the arc. No. No, it's too insane for that. But the mangaka says, this is one of the art pieces I didn't use for the cover of volume 15. There were too many characters here to fit on the cover of a graphic novel. I thought I could use it as a title page, but the opportunity never came up. People have expressed interest in seeing a Yura and Tetra in color, and I wasn't able to make that happen. Sorry about that. Oh, it's really pretty, though, them helping Yona. I love the cover page of Pursuit, though, with both of them in the beautiful, with the hairpin and everything. I'm telling you, if they're setting up Lily and Yona to be Hak and SOO-WON's lady friends, I'm okay with this. I'm fine with this development. But I'm fascinated by the traditional Vietnamese ao dai. I love Yona in that outfit, though. It's very pretty. So, yeah, it took Lily long enough to mention Yona's name, right? I love that SOO-WON and Lily have they have the dinner date together, and Judo's like the third wheel, like the chaperone. It's great. And she's like, this guy really has an awful temper. And he's like, I find him amusing. It's so cute. But yeah, I love this conversation that Lily has where she's talking about how her father isn't doing anything. She's like, he's not helping out the situation. And she's like, are you saying am I acting recklessly by going off to do things on my own? If nobody's acting, am I being reckless? And SOO-WON says, I imagine that your dad's in a difficult position, but reckless or not, I don't see anything foolish about trying to change the status quo when it's harmful. If that's not a line, that's like his whole reasoning right there. SOO-WON's whole justification of why he killed King Il, that there was going to be harm happen because of him, and this was the only way to change the status quo. If you truly care about the Water Tribe, I don't think you should hesitate to do all you can. That makes a lot of sense. So, again, it sucks because Yona and Hak hate SOO-WON because of what he's done, but you get the reasoning of why he's been doing it. He's like, mind you, I think General Junji cares about the Water Tribe too. And she's like, you're so much more grounded than you appear. You come across pampered and delicate. I thought that might reflect your nature. And he's like, that's terrible. And so she thanks him for making her feel more confident. And he's like, not at all. It's really cute. I can get on board with SOO-WON with Lily. I can get on board with that as long as he proves that he's trustworthy to Lily. I can get on board with that. I think Yona's rationale of being mindful has a good reasoning, and we'll get to that. But if they started to ship Lily and SOO-WON, I'd be all for it. I like it. And so, yeah, it took her forever to get to... Anytime that a young girl around a young girl's age is mentioned, SOO-WON should just assume it's Yona at this point. Should just assume. And the traveling performers. All right. And so, yeah. So Hyo goes crazy. Hyo wants to tear Yona apart. And he thinks the South Kai nobleman will protect him and support him. So he writes this letter, I'm sure lying and talking about how bad the situation is. And his laugh face is disturbing. It's like the extended mouth and everything kind of looks like Junji. Crazy talk. It's insane. He's like, will I end up ruling the Water Tribe territories? And he just wants to kill Yona at this point. So, I like that Hak's like, you know, you've been drenched in the rain and you're still injured. You're not fine. And Yona's like, okay. So they decide to stay at an inn, but the inn is booked. And of course, at the moment the moment Lily says you can't be serious, I really thought that it was like Lily and her crew meeting up with Yona and them at that moment. Thank goodness, again, that they didn't do that, because I'm not ready. I don't think Hak is ready to see SOO-WON, and I don't think that confrontation is ready. I'm much happier that Yona is meeting with SOO-WON now with Zeno present, because Zeno is like this stabilizing force. I'm glad that that's happening. Hak is not emotionally ready to see SOO-WON yet. No. Not ready for that. But you notice now looking back that Jae-Ha looked back at the inn owner wondering about the wine. So it's curious. It's fun when you go back and reread that you see these little details, like Jae-Ha looking back and seeing the owner. He was going to go back and check it out. I love it. But yeah, they're all going to stay in that one room. And I love that Lily's like, we can't stay here. I'm not even married if something were to happen. And the moment that SOO-WON's like, impossible. Nothing's going to happen. And she's like, your bluntness is annoying. You're never happy, are you? Again, part of me was like, oh, impossible. He's saying, oh, nothing's going to happen. I'm not interested in you. That was one way of looking at it. But now that I think about it, another way is he's kind of teasing her like Hak teases Yona. He teases her in the same way, right? And she's just like, there's so many parallels between how she treats SOO-WON in this and how Yona and Hak treat each other that I'm like, okay, I'm sensing a ship. I'm okay with it. And so he's like, we'll go check it out as your bodyguards. And that's when SOO-WON meets Jae-Ha. And they wouldn't have known each other back from Awa, so this is the first time they've really met. And they hit it off. But Jae-Ha is a lot like Hak, so of course they hit it off. Of course they do. Because Hak and SOO-WON got along so well. So of course Jae-Ha and him get along so well. And they get along with the rice wine, they figure all that out. There's a shot here where Jae-Ha kind of looks like Hak, the way he has this brooding expression. But the both of them laughing together, Judo's like, get this random man away. But they smash all the wine bottles. It's such a good moment. And SOO-WON does not know about the dragon abilities. So when Jae-Ha's like, okay, bye, see ya, and he walks out and Jae-Ha's gone, he's like, oh, where's he gone? He's quick. He doesn't know about the dragon's abilities, which he's going to probably now. So I feel like it's also a good idea for the mangaka to leave Zeno, who is the least noticeable that he's a dragon, with Yona and them, even though he's labeled himself as the yellow dragon. So I thought that was a good move too. But yeah, so Lily's like, oh man, we missed him, darn it. But then they are all going to meet at Utsuro in lot 3. Oh my god, this whole thing, it's great at this point. I'm like, what is happening? So, mangaka note, several months ago I got a new editor. I've put together a work list for you, so I'm sending it over. Okay. Kusanagi's mandatory work list, volume 15 cover illustration, July. Special edition dust cover illustration. Hanayama cover issue 15. Original color artwork, ideas for short stories. Ao's Big Adventure, Yona. Pukyu's Big Adventure is already on my work list. I'm not drawing that. Does Kusanagi have a rule that says she has to reject the idea of Pukyu's Big Adventure? Everybody wants the squirrel to have a big adventure, and the mangaka's like, no. So, Sheena and Hak, as it happens, they go and look at the ships, and Zeno says that he'll go look too. And so, Sheena says that ships are coming. Many, many ships from beyond the sea are headed this way. And so then, yeah, SOO-WON has no time to react because there's Yona. Yona shows up and she's like, oh, you're bodyguards, huh? And then that's when they see one another. Oh my god, every time they have a spread of Yona and SOO-WON recognizing each other and then both being like, it's so good. But yeah, of course we juxtapose that with Hak and Sheena on the other side. Oh my god. I can't, y'all. I cannot. And so I like that Zeno also seems to take concern about Hak. Zeno has been around Hak quite a bit in this volume, and in this series in general, so it's interesting. I feel like Zeno is kind of going to be the mediator between Hak and SOO-WON in terms of their emotionality and their, confrontation, whether or not they actually see each other in this series or not. I don't know I'm not ready. I don't want Hak to see SOO-WON yet, because I think Hak would try to kill him outright, and I don't want that to try to happen, because then he'll definitely be a traitor, right? Right now he's just like on the run and he's pronounced dead. But if he tries to kill SOO-WON, he'll be a traitor and they'll try to probably execute him. So, or Judo will be like, nope. So I don't want him and SOO-WON to see each other anytime soon. But Zeno says, so I like that Hak trusts Zeno to go tell the princess and the others. And he's like, we'll stay here to keep an eye on the harbor and shoreline to make sure nothing happens. And that way we can run fast and catch up if we're needed. So, a good decision by the mangaka to have that happen. But yeah, Yona just looking at him like, it's you. And everything goes surprisingly well. They all get along. They're like, it's fine. And then Lily's like, see, they stand out. And then Jae-Ha's like, oh, we met last night. It's that guy. And Judo is like, Judo knows what's up. He's like, what is happening? Like, he doesn't know the dragons, but he knows that Yona and SOO-WON. And a lot of times we don't get SOO-WON's expression. It's great. But she's like, Won. He's like, oh, yeah, they do. And then I love that shot of Yona's face and his face juxtaposed looking at each other. Do you have any leads on where Hyo is? Not yet. That's what we came here to look for, I see. Like, they're just looking at each other like, what do we do? And then Zeno says, young lady, where's Thunder Beast and Sheena? There's trouble maybe. Out at sea. And that's when Zeno notices SOO-WON in his eyes. He's like, Zeno knows. Zeno knows something's up. Zeno knows. I'm like, what do you know, Zeno? What do you have a clue about? What is going on? The mystery! I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to be spoiled, but I'm like, are you joking? Ugh. Oh my god. So, Mangaka, for info on the anime, check out the official website and Twitter account, which are up now. You can access them from Hana to Yume's Yona of the Dawn page. I also plan to release info on the anime and CDs on my personal blog and Twitter account, which I just started as well. I'm sorry there aren't many new stories in the collected volumes. I have a set number of pages, so I don't have much space. I can't often do things like in volumes 12 and 13. Instead, I've been doing some color artwork and artwork for gift items. So if you read Hana to Yume, please check them out. I'm doing my best. The Water Tribe arc ends in the next volume. So it ends in the next volume. Oh my god. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait a week. I may have to watch it. I may have to read it this week. I don't think I can wait. No, I don't think I can wait. But yeah, he looks at SOO-WON. Zeno does. And Zeno's like, oh. Like he gives SOO-WON a look. But SOO-WON's like, So SOO-WON doesn't know Zeno. SOO-WON doesn't know why Zeno's looking at him weird. But Zeno knows something about SOO-WON. And that's why he chooses to stay behind. Okay. And then Yoon's like, hey, where's that? What's that scene? He's like, oh, yeah, right. And so he says the young men are watching to see if Hyo comes out to meet them. Are they the people Hyo is dealing with? It sounds like an unusual number of ships, though. And so SOO-WON is trying to piece everything together, being like, okay, Hawk's out with them. Hawk's not with the group right now. And he gets, whenever she says Lily, that's when he like gets, oh, yeah, right. That's what I'm doing. I'm the bodyguard. And Yona says, is there an outlook nearby where we can see the ocean? She's like, yes, take me there. And they run off. And SOO-WON's like, oh. Because SOO-WON's not seen Yona have this like gung-ho hardcore personality. He's not seen that with her. So this is the first time he's seeing her like take action and like be a different person than the girl in the palace that he's used to. Because when she first saw him back in Awa, she was shell-shocked. She didn't know what to do. So she was freaking out and probably seemed like she did like the Yona he's known. But this Yona is different. He's like, oh, she is not what I thought anymore. And so then Judo's like, what are we going to do? And he's like, at the moment, we're Lady Lily's bodyguards. And then the Gook guy, whatever his name is, he's like, that's not what I meant. And then Judo's like, shut up and follow orders. Like, don't worry about it right now. But they managed to go see the ships. And there's a lot of them on the shoreline. A lot. And Jae-Ha's like, they're definitely South Kai ships. And then, I love that Yoon says that's a lot of merchant ships just to make a deal. And Zeno's like, maybe they're doing a group tour. Like, Zeno. And so that's when Lily remembers that they could find themselves at war. And then they're like, what do we do? And SOO-WON's like, shall we get them to leave? And everybody like slowly turns to look at him. And they're like, yeah, we probably should do that. And so don't worry, we'll deal with them, Lily. Okay. And then Lily makes the thing where she's like, I'm here to fight too. I may not be strong, but I love this land with all my heart. Let me fight with you. And so SOO-WON comes up and says, Lily, all of us here, you have the greatest ability to save the Water Tribe. And she's like, oh, I'll do what little I can to assist you. And here's the thing. I do not think that Yona is jealous of Lily being with SOO-WON. No, not at all. I think that Yona's like, what do you intend to do? Like, Yona is not jealous in this moment. Yona is like, get away from her. Like, I don't trust you. You killed my dad and you put on this little nice act. And she's like, I know it can be a facade, so don't act all genuine like this. Like, you're hiding something. Yona knows that he's hiding something and lying to Lily. And she's like, you're lying to this girl, so don't act like you're just going to protect her and everything, because you're already putting her in harm's way by lying to her. And, like, that's all going to come out in the wash. And the dragons are like, what? And SOO-WON's like, just now my intentions align with those of everyone else here. And they just kind of glare at each other. And yeah, that is true. Like, SOO-WON is trying to help. But Yona's like, what do you intend to do? Like, what is your intentions? Like, she's trying to read SOO-WON because she knows how he can be. And then SOO-WON says, Lady Lily, do you know any wealthy people in town? And so that's when they decide to try to negotiate and get the boats. And so Yona, they try to all go leave, and Yona says, I'm not leaving Lily. And so that's the thing. Lily's like, oh, and SOO-WON's like, But it's not because, it's because Yona doesn't trust Lily alone with SOO-WON, because she's afraid something might happen. And so Kija offers to stay, and Yona's like, no, you're going to be better needed fighting with Hak and Jae-Ha and the others. And that's when I love that Lily says, if you're concerned about our safety, my bodyguards are excellent. They'll protect Yona as well. And SOO-WON's like, because, you know, going back to volume 1, like Lily's like, they'll protect Yona. And SOO-WON's like, well, I haven't really done much of that in this story. And so that's when Zeno pops in and says, and the young lady has Zeno with her. And Kija's like, you? And Zeno says, Zeno will guard her with his life. And if anything goes wrong, he can signal you mentally. Which is true. So if anything does go wrong, he's like, I'll connect to you dragons. We got a wavelength. He's like, if Zeno says he'll risk his life, the young lady will come to no harm on the yellow dragon's honor. Which apparently means a lot, because Kija's like, all right, I got faith in you. We'll get going. So I'm curious. I'm so curious about Zeno. So curious about Zeno. So curious about all this. And Yona and SOO-WON are together in this with Lily and Zeno. Again, Zeno's like a mediator, so that might be helpful. But they go here to get the boats and everything. Lily stands up for herself. And I love when she says, listen, and hits the wall. And it's right by SOO-WON's face. He's like, oh, God. I think if anybody could handle SOO-WON, it'd be Lily. I'm kind of rooting for this now. I'm kind of all aboard this ship. I wasn't at first. I was like, SOO-WON and Lily. But the more I reread this volume, the more I'm like, nah, she'd be good for him. And it's probably just the part of my shipper heart that wants Yona and Hak to end up together. That I'm like, well, if Lily and SOO-WON are together, then that means Yona and Hak can be together. But I still, you know, that's just the shipper in me being like, yeah, it could work out. But even if they don't, I do love that Lily is such a dynamic character in this volume. And I love that she stands up for herself. She's outspoken, and she makes the effort to be like, I'm here to deal with Hyo because I care about the water tribe, and she's trying to make a difference. And even when they talk down to her, she's like, no, this is what we're going to do. If I bring the troops, can you lend me the ships? Like, girl, I love it. I love Lily in this. She's a great character. And so then they go back to Hak, and I love that Kija's like zooming to catch up with them. That's a really cute detail. And so Hak's like, where's Yona? And then he's like, bodyguards? I can't trust the bodyguards. It's like, oh, if only you knew, right? And he says he's going to go back to try to help her. But then Jae-Ha's like, no, it's fine. Zeno's with him. And that's when Kija says, Zeno swore on his honor as the Yellow Dragon. It'll be all right. So if Zeno gets serious, then it's going to be okay. And Hak's like, But oh my God. What? This is just madness. It's madness. Sheer madness. I can't, y'all. I can't. This is just too good. But yeah. And the Hak doesn't give an answer, but he seems like he's going to be okay with it. Oh my God, y'all. So volume 16 is next. Which if we're looking at chapters, we got chapters, what chapters did we get through this? We got chapter 80, what are we getting here? 83 through 88. So we did 6 chapters in this one. So next chapter should be 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94 will be volume 16. And then volume 17 will be 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100. Okay, so, and that'll be volume 17. So volume 18 will be when we get to the other OVAs. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this arc with Nadai is going to finish next volume. I don't think I can wait until next week. I don't know. I don't think I can wait, though. It's too good. I'm sorry if y'all have to wait, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll wait. But here's the thing. I felt during Awa, when Yona first met up with SOO-WON, I was so nervous and so anxious about it because at the time, there were still all these questions with SOO-WON and if he was or wasn't the antagonist of the series. And then after the last couple volumes, I don't think SOO-WON's an antagonist. And I really love that he's getting a part to play in this, that he's getting a chance to maybe talk to Yona. That's fascinating. Like, I'm so excited to see where that goes. But I'm glad that Yona's not fully trusting him, and she'll probably want to talk to him about this. It's just, and that SOO-WON's going to get to see how much she's changed, that she has developed and changed as a character. That's fascinating to me. Like, that I'm excited for. But, oh my gosh, y'all, this volume. What was this? Amazing. It was amazing. So yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. So yeah, oh my God, I'm so excited. I am so excited, but you know, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please do not spoil me. Please don't spoil me. I know I'm going to find out answers. I'm so freaking excited, but this volume was amazing. This arc is amazing so far. Y'all have been hyping up this arc, and I understand why. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Yona of the Dawn.